Hi, this is Chris from Orange Coast College's Art Department, reviewing the proportions of the sides of a cube compared to the height. So here we're looking at a cube in one-point perspective, and there's one thing that we know for sure about a cube, and that is each side is as wide as it is high. So that is one of the fundamentals of a cube, that each side is made up of a square, and on a square each side is exactly the same size. So one thing that we notice when we look at sort of the rotation of a cube is that those verticals stay more or less the same. You know, they're in the right height, but the widths of the sides of the cube go from perfectly square, right about here, to where the width and the height are equal. And then as we rotate, the front will foreshorten and get thinner and thinner and thinner, and the side will get wider and wider and wider until it's now the front. So that side never got wider than the cube is tall. So that vertical leading edge is always the highest, longest part of the cube. And so this side, even though it looks wide, it's never wider than the cube is tall. And we also notice that as we foreshorten, that front gets narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower until it disappears and we can't see it any longer. So that's sort of some fundamentals about the cube in perspective. Another thing that we want to look at is the relative angles of convergence. So here we have balanced angles of convergence. So our vanishing points are equidistant from where the cube is. However, that can change easily as we rotate the cube. But what I want you to notice is as we rotate the cube, the wide side, those angles of convergence are getting close to parallel. And what is the narrow foreshortened side, those angles of convergence are really acute. So if we look at the right side of the cube here, we can barely see any of the right side, but we can. It's just that apparent width is really foreshortened, and at the same time, the angles of convergence to the vanishing point are acute. And conversely, as we're coming around almost to one-point perspective, that left side is becoming the front, and the width is growing and growing and growing, and eventually those angles of convergence when we hit one-point perspective go to parallel. So let's look at it again. I'm going to rotate the same direction. So the right side is going to get narrower in apparent width, and the left side is going to grow, and the angles on the right are going to get acute, and the angles on the left are going to flatten out to where they're almost parallel. So this should help you in doing the exercises of finding the right proportions of the cube and how the widths are never wider than the height. And then also, we want to notice that even if these things still apply even if our horizon line moves upward and we can see the top or the bottom. So that doesn't change the facts of foreshortening, whether we're horizon line high or horizon line low or horizon line right through the middle. That doesn't change what we're looking at. All right, I hope that helps you. And let's get started with our exercises.